I do not know how to answer that question, how's your day? Because most of the times I feel I'm always confused. When someone asks me, I feel like I saw my father's face in the morning. That's considered good. When I write a play, I have a little dystopian feel towards it. There is some unnatural element towards it. If a person who's joined us is very afraid of people around, we would throw them in Kaban Park.
Basically push them to that uncomfortable zone
as much as possible. I think theatre is about mistakes, and how well do you cater to that mistake is the most beautiful part about theatre. No mistakes, there's no fun. Right? But then when there is constraint, you are always creative. How do we get this done, right? So I think more than balance, I think it's about knowing what you can and cannot do, and then you figure out what you can do with what you have, and do the best out of it. There's a scene where a guy tells he's fighting a dragon upstairs, and the entire audience looked up. There's nothing happening upstairs. Even I looked up. I felt like an idiot. And that's the most beautiful thing, right? They succeeded on showing something that wasn't there. Even if you're doing what you love, you get bored of it. And that's the part of cycling. In Mumbai, theatre tickets are much more expensive than movie tickets, right? It starts with 600, 700, 500. But here you keep it more than 300, 400 people don't come. Kannada plays are 250 rupees, 200. I feel it deserves much more.
Hello Pritish.
Hello, hi.
How are you doing?
I'm doing great.
Okay, first question.
Yes.
How's your day been so far?
It's not bad. I think, I do not know how to answer that question, how's your day? Because most of the times I feel I'm always confused, Most throughout the day I'm always confused. I don't know what... I genuinely don't know how to answer that question.
So this is like a very corporate thing.
How was your day?
How was your day? How are you doing?
Yeah. When someone asks me, I feel like I saw my father's face in the morning. If that's considered good, I don't know, but
we can discuss more.
I hope he doesn't see this, but
we will make sure we forward the link.
Yeah, so it's very confusing. How was your day? I'm like, same thing yesterday,
Nothing
today,
different.
tomorrow. Yeah.
So
Great,
far,
I
so
guess.
good.
So
Okay.
far, so good. Surviving. Hopefully better.
Lovely. How much are you looking forward to the podcast?
I'm really excited because I forget what I'm answering on the go as well. So I'm really excited when it's a podcast, how I can...
Keep
how
your
I'll
attention.
fare, yes, is what... the
I will
answer.
try my best to keep your attention today.
No, I don't think I have a short attention span, but I am very absent-minded as well. Yeah, I forget birthdays, I forget numbers, I forget my own birthday. Like I genuinely forget my own birthday. So it's scary. Yes.
It's a borderline scary. Like forgetting birthdays to happen, no, like.
Yeah.
But your own birthday is little
it's
bit.
little. I feel it's kind of scary. I know. I know. It's like the mannequins at the back. Sometimes when I'm entering the house, I freak out. There was a time where I took the 10 seconds to see who's inside the house. Took a stick. Then like, oh, mannequins. Okay.
The mannequins I kept.
Yeah.
Very interesting.
So yeah, it's
Cool. Let's get started, okay?
Yeah.
Firstly, tell me, when was the first time that you entered theatre?
To watch or just...
To watch and to perform.
So to watch, I happened to stumble upon Rangashankara one fine day. And I genuinely didn't know what that place is about. Being in Bangalore for years, it's embarrassing that you don't know what Rangashakara is, right? And I think I watched a Kannada play. I forgot which play it was, but I remember laughing my ass throughout, and it was quite an unique experience. And I think I just stayed back. After watching the play, there was a cafe. I stayed back and I sat and I was trying to process. I think that's the first. I mean, I wouldn't say first time, because I'm from Bangalore. Tulu Natak is something part and parcel for our life. Like we can't live without watching the comedy dramas. That's quite famous back in Bangalore. So that's always been a part of my life. But after being by myself and then watching something here was something special for me. So I think that's what I remember. Rangashankara is I think around 11 years back, 11, 12 years back is when I think the moment I came to Bangalore, things to do Bangalore is what you
Very Bangalore of you.
very Bangalore of me, things to do in Bangalore, and I stumbled upon Rangashankara. And I was amazed actually. I think most people do not know it. I think Rangashankara is one of the best stages in the country.
Is it?
Yes, it is. I think should give it more credit as well. So I think I was mesmerized by the entire idea, the spotlight, of people clapping, the genuine reactions, I guess. I think I was quite fascinated about that. Yeah.
That's interesting. So that was the first time that you came in, you saw, and you're fascinated about.
Yes. That was the first time.
That's
I mean, I kept going after that quite a few times, but the first time is always something that I remember. Memory, I don't know which play it was, sadly, but it's Kannada theatre has a lot of folk, dance, this comedy. So it was one of those, one of the old theatre groups from Bangalore performed it, pretty sure. Yeah.
But how did you take it forward from there? Like, what did you do afterwards?
After that, so after watching it, I had no intention of doing theatre as well. So I was not into theatre at all. And being a drama queen is my birthright. So I've always been a drama queen, always, all my life. So it all happened as a joke when one of my mentors in Infosys, he said, Hugh, you know what, the amount of drama you do, I think you should try drama. And I just happened to enter a workshop just for the sake of people making fun of me. I said, if you think I'm a drama queen, I'll do drama and come.
Might as well try.
Might as well try. And I think I went at the earliest stages of working also. No? I didn't have money also for the workshop. I just ended up there. See, I don't have money. Can I attend, please? I'll pay it you, like 2 days later, salary is going to come and I'll pay it you, please. And they said, and they were like really taken aback. Who speaks like this? I think it was yours truly was a group. Prithesh Bhandary was the person. And he said, okay, you come first, sit in front of me. Let me talk to you. So I think that's where, and then I was actually very easygoing, not disciplined, all of that, which is very beautiful. So theatre actually helped me, and then I started getting more disciplined. I understood how to value others' time, because it's getting together of 10 different people, not only you. Otherwise, I used to think I'm the main lead of my character, of my life character, but then I'm not. There are 9 other people as well. So that's something that really fascinated me. And then, of course, I met my mentor, Ranjan Ghoshal, who is no more, sadly. But and then, I really started liking the idea of theatre. How theatre as a whole brings people together, how it changed me as a person. That's something it really liked. That's how I came into theatre. No philosophical reason. Just because people told me you're a drama queen, just ended up there. Yes.
Lovely. So it was more like a real-time MBA for you.
Yeah, of course. I don't know what real-time MBA is, but
like that's what you learn in MBA, I think, like stakeholder management.
Okay.
How do you manage your time and all of the good stuff? So maybe.
I always thought MBA is something that I used to always think MBA is like business. That's you go to MBA. And
part of it. I mean, like.
I used to be that dumb. That's what I'm trying to say. But yeah, it was, I could say, a real-time MBA.
What was your first play that you performed?
First play I performed was a really good play. It was I think 0 by 10. No, oh my God. The first play I ever performed was Kanasu.
Okay.
A really shitty play that I wrote.
So you were like the director, actor.
Oh my God, yes.
Oh director, I want to hear this story now, please.
Director, actor, everything. And they were like, I think one other person, I think 2 other people in that play. Yeah, Kannada play, written by a Mangalorean who doesn't know to speak Kannada really well. Oh, like we didn't know what was happening while we were performing. Like it's hilarious, I think. Yeah, I think none of them are in touch, or I think they've gone separate ways. But I think whenever we catch up, we always talk about this and then we laugh. What did we do? Like, what did I write?
What was the plot though?
I genuinely forgot. But I think it's about your dreams and aspirations.
Oh, like just when you're entered, like
dreams and aspirations. what are you doing in life? What subconscious, substantial,
Very original
very
idea.
original. What are you doing in life? Yeah, so it's very embarrassing to talk about. And sadly, I don't even have the poster, as I hung it up somewhere.
Yeah, for memory's sake.
Yeah, I don't even have the poster. I tried looking for it. I think we just had one show, and then I said, please, I think let's stop. I think we should stop, please.
So after that, you started continuing with acting, or then you entered directing the plays? Like,
So
how
I've
did you?
performed also.
Okay.
I've performed quite a lot. I think I've performed in more than 150 shows all over the country. But I like directing more. You know, that's something that I really enjoy. I enjoy acting as well, but I feel directing is something I feel that I will reach.
Or
Quite
it gives you satisfaction, maybe.
Not only I feel that I can reach some place
Okay.
because I feel that's something that is my forte and that's something that I really understand. Acting, I feel there are 100 other people who are like already better than me. And, you know, it's like, can I be the best? I don't think so. But direction, could I? Maybe. I feel. I mean, best is, there's no term called as best, but I feel that maybe I can get really good at direction. But I do both. I enjoy both.
Got
For
it.
sure.
And in terms of like acting, direction, and being a playwright, firstly, you should try to explain what are the responsibilities of all three
Okay.
people when a show is happening or when a play is happening.
Okay.
And maybe then tell us how's the preparation different for each one of them. It's for a complete newbie. Like I'm asking from a perspective of maybe I don't know what theatre is and I haven't watched a single play until
Okay.
now.
Okay.
From that
So,
perspective.
for a newbie's perspective, normally a person does a play, right? A play is something you take up a script and then you have a group of people, allot them characters, rehearse, then get execute it and all the jazz behind it, right? So that's what normally happens. But luckily, I've got great mentors who really made me understand what doing theatre is. You know, it's much more than just taking up a story and not just moving from side A to side B. It's much more than getting your characters or emotions, all that jazz. It's bringing up what you feel the story is about and how you present it on stage, you know, and how you present the idea rather than the story. The idea of the story that you have, how you presenting it is what the ultimate goal is, you know, for a theatre maker or someone who wishes to do something good out of what you get. Otherwise, staging a play is very, what do you say, take a story and then you stage a play. There's nothing more to it. But doing theatre is something that's something that we can talk about for hours. You know, there's so many small nuances. There are small things that you have to take care of. And
For example, though, like for example, what is the difference between like me just taking a script and performing in a school drama per se,
Correct.
and doing an actual theatre? What do you think is the difference? And maybe some nuances that you mentioned that are going to be very specific.
see, both are theatre, all right? Both are theatre. It's not that it would be wrong for me to say that that is not theatre at all. But I feel what most people lack or not lack, I would say, like if you keep your vision so limited to the script that you have, right? Then there's nothing more that you can explore. There is some bits of it that has to come through it in the process. You know, you have to explore yourself as an actor, right? If I say that we take up a story and we have no script ready yet, right? But we're writing the script. But then you do equal amount of research for that story, right? Let's say it's about the taxes that happen
Recently.
recent, right? And if you as an actor do equal amount of research, right? And I do a different set of research. Now, because you've researched it genuinely, and you have so many stories that you have, right? And if you have a fixed script based on this, there's no way that you can explore your side of the story, right? So now, I'm not saying that the script keeps changing, right? But if there is a scope where all your ideas come and form a dish together, that thing would be the best form of theatre, right? And it's more than creating a play, I think you should explore your entire journey or the play as a form. Like you have Yakshagana as a form, Kuchipudi dance has a form, right? But when it comes to theatre, we look at it as scene, actors, emotion. But you should, I feel that we should think of it as a form as well, like what form are you throwing to the audience?
Do you mean Navarasa?
Not Navarasa. It's a very, if you talk about Navarasa, again, it comes to the emotions and all that. We narrow it down. But how are you showing it as a form, right?
Okay.
For
For example?
I take something, you take something, and this is my style of bringing the story together, right? And my style includes clowning, what do you say, physical theatre and all of that, right? Now, what of it is relevant, right? What part of it is relevant to you, and you throw that to the audience. Much more than just showing a character or emotion or just what my character speaks, right? Much more than that. Or if you have a form, like this is what my part is in this story, you move freely throughout the stage, and then that's not fixed, and that can and gives you a chance of exploration as well, right? You don't have to be stuck up on blocking. Like there's a term that normally people use, blocking. This is how we're supposed to move, right? This is how. But if you have your own form, then you can explore it on stage as well, more than just being blocking. Like I have to turn right at this moment.
So there is no map basically.
Yeah, but it is fixed, of course.
There's a terrain map,
There is a
but there's
terrain,
not like.
but it is fixed, of course. If there is a spotlight or something, of course you'll fix it. But if you have a form which allows you to explore, and then you don't have to worry about blocking too much.
Got it.
That term only, I think it should be removed. I feel I don't like when someone says blocking. Move from right to left. When you're speaking, you have to turn towards the audience and speak. I feel that's something that I feel is very limiting to people. Whereas if you feel like if you explore movement, right, rather than blocking, I think that itself gives you a form. I think you have to explore your own form of theatre, And currently we are exploring clowning, and clowning as a form, and that's what we are exploring right now. Maybe it'll change, of course.
What do you mean when you say clowning as a form?
Clowning is a form that induces laughter
Okay.
to people, right? But that is very limited to tell that clowning only induces laughter. Like when you say a clown is someone that makes you laugh. But if you think of a person who can make you laugh, is a person who knows what laughter is and what is the importance of laughter, right? If a person can induce an emotion out of you, which means that he knows that emotions really well. So a clown is basically a person who is very well versed with his emotions first. So clowning is an art form that generates emotions rather than just laughter, right? So when we are exploring that form of theatre making or clowning, it's not only laughter that we look at, right? Which is the normal way when you think about clowning, you talk about it as laughter, but there's so much more that people don't know that you can explore. So that's what I'm talking about, how we explore. If you explore a clown's perspective as emotions that he's going through, then there's so much that he can go throughout his journey, right? So I think that journey, I think the audience also can accept when they are watching you perform or on that show day. I think that connect would be more is what I feel.
Pritish, let's now get to the interesting side of theatre, right? Like your creative process and execution, and how do you do all such cool stuff. Firstly, how do you choose a specific story or a theme to build a play?
Okay, so currently I like stories that have actually happened. Like all the plays that I do right now are all based on true incidents, most of it, and there's no particular rule on what we choose what I choose, but when I stumble upon something interesting and I do some more research on it, and then there's nothing written on it, and that interests me a lot, Recently we did Mental was based on several instances that has happened in life, whereas people talk about small things in their life, which is so, as you know, that it's so important and such a big thing in their life, but when it's actually a important matter. To give an example, Samay Rena's thing, right? They just cracked a joke, offensive, yes, but it's just a joke, but the outrage people have on that is so much, rather than if you actually see the problems in our country, it's taken for granted. So mental was based on something very similar to that idea, where people take things for granted, which is actually supposed to be taken seriously. And when we researched and I spoke to a lot of people, I talked to a lot of people before writing a play. Because you can write a play on anything actually. You take a topic and you write. It's not that difficult. But I talked to a lot of people. I base on the actual testimonies of people, and that time we don't have to write much. You just have to take what they've given. No? And
that's easier way of
that's
writing.
Easier way of writing, and that is the most beautiful part of it as well, because it's more relatable. That's happened in your life as well, and automatically humorous. You know, when you don't try to be funny, but you take instances in life and you see, oh my God, life can be so unpredictable, and so that's there's no process behind selecting something. You come and tell me, Pritish, can you write something on this? Yes, I'll write.
But what do you know which one works and which one doesn't?
I think that comes with experience, I feel, because I use a lot of because I feel, right? I think you don't know whether it'll work or not until you put it out there. That's the major question that everyone has. What I do is, what if this works, you do this. If this doesn't work, do that. So it's very difficult to judge what will work and what will not work. What is funny to you might not be funny to me, right? And keeping a very safe boundary of what is funny is again boring as well, because you're not exploring too much on whether it's going to be funny or okay, if it is not funny, all right, what is it then? Is it relatable to you? Is it generating an emotion?
Remind you of something.
Remind you, or is it genuine to you, or does it sound made up? Is what we ask, you know. And I put a lot of things on the actors as well. You know, I don't feel that it's just me writing something. Of course, I like to write and throw it out there, but there's a lot of research that goes through the actor's mind as well. So if they come up with something that is better than mine, we take that. But if mine is still better, we take mine. So that's the process that we follow as a group. But I don't think there's a clear-cut rule what works. You never know until you put it out there. Sometimes you're surprised. What is not funny, people laugh on that more than what you think they will laugh at. So I don't think there is. I don't think we can go about
predict what works and what doesn't.
What works and what will not work, for sure.
Got it.
Yeah.
And you have your script, and how do you take it up until the stage performance? What all happens in between? Like, how do you choose your actors?
So that's quite interesting. So whoever comes on time are a part of my production, but it's quite difficult to work with someone who calls you at 7 in the morning daily, does 1.5 hours of warm up, and then gives you a lot of homework, genuine homework, like not just simply telling and not letting, not just saying and then letting it go. Because I feel anyone can be an actor provided they put in that effort. You know, they put in that genuine effort throughout their side, and we try to touch the professional side of theatre. You know, which is that we try to create a form, of course, but anything that we do it very crisp and to a point where we've done it so many times. We don't worry about the text that we use. I give them the text like 10-15 days before the show. Till then, we know what the story is about, we know what the text is, but text, I think we all work 10-15 days before the show, and after that, it's actually up to them. We don't worry about the text too much, rather than what we are trying to show. we work on what we want to tell as, how do you want to tell it, what is our underlying theme and how we are showing it. That is what we work on. Work on ourselves more, getting ourselves ready until the point when we get any text, we'll be ready in 2 days, right? Even mental also, I think we prepared for more number of days than we actually rehearsed. Our rehearsal days were only like 6 or 7 days, 7 full days, but we prepare first. If it's a musical, we are now learning how to sing for a couple of months. I can't learn because I suck at it, but the actors are learning how to sing for a couple of months now. So it's been 2 months that they're learning, and now we're getting it. So I think we prepare first. There's no clear-cut rule on how do I choose actors. Whoever comes is in. But if they're not regular, I think we chuck them out also very easily. But yeah, anyone who comes on time is in.
But when you say preparation, it's only for these specific kind of plays, right? Like when you say musical and stuff. But apart from that, what is the kind of preparation an actor should go through, like before they perform a play or something, except for your voice modulation and stuff?
So I think the problem is like you when you look at a dancer, they have a routine. You have a sportsman, they have a routine. Be it any field, they have a routine. But actor, you ask them what their routine is, they'll be confused. So that's what we work towards. Like we have our own routine that we follow in and out. That routine changes from play to play.
For example, could you give a sneak peek into a specific routine that you would have followed for a recent play? Maybe?
Like for a recent play, it required a lot of physicality, right? So we worked on how our body changes with various levels.
Okay,
right?
Levels as in?
You're standing, that's one level. You're sleeping, that's another level. And the level in between, right? And I wanted them to have a posture of a dancer throughout. That's why you see we're always erect throughout the play. There's not one point where we're bending down. So we're preparing ourselves, how much can we take in that posture for hours and hours, right? And for a play that involved violence, we prepared ourselves, how much violence can we take? Because the violence was real on stage. Yeah.
Okay, so what does that mean?
Like we actually hit people with the sticks until the stick broke, right?
Okay.
The stick was designed, of course, it was safe in a sense, the person wouldn't die, but how much violence can we take? And that was the preparation. And how much do we need to put our body through extreme measures until we call it a performance, right? It's not just standing on stage and telling a dialogue. We put, like the actors, we start our rehearsals when the actors are on the floor, I can't take it. Now, then that's when we start our rehearsals. The warm-ups are that intense until you see when a dancer walks, you say, it's a dancer's walk, right? But you can't say it's an actor's walk. But we try to get there. We try to get what do you mean by an actor's walk is. Okay, you're naturally not someone who is physically or agile or upright. So we see how do we get there. So that is how we prepare for each show, right? And if 6 people are ones who have already worked with me for a couple of productions, then the process is completely different. How do we become more crisp where our each movement is connecting to the audience, and what are the things that we need to put our body through to get there, right? So we take it up a notch each production. There's a style that I've reached for now, and I think that's the style that I have. So that's basically, it's physical torture that they go through, and it's very physical that we all do. Although there's a lot of jumping, there's a lot of moving, and putting our body through to a point where they're performers, where you give them a script and they're ready in 2 days. So reaching that takes a lot of time, and that can only be by practice. So we don't rehearse, we perform every day. So that's the motto that we have. At the end of the day, we perform. Whatever we have done today, we perform. So even our warm-ups is also like a performance. Everything is a performance for us. So we don't rehearse. So we are always performing. I feel the more you perform is the more you get better at it. So
How do you
that's-
warm up though? Like, I'm curious about the warm ups that you
I
guys
think
do.
you should join. Tomorrow we are starting. I think you should join because there's at least a physical warm up for 1 hour, and then there is a mental warm up for like 10-15 minutes, and then there is a cool down for like 5-10 minutes. So if you have time, like our next show is going to be in June, so there's time. So the first 15 days is going to be like 1.5 hours of warm up, and earlier we used to start by running 3 kilometers and then reach and then start a physical thing. Because if you can take an activity, say duck walk, right? If you can do it with a posture upright, and example I'm saying, and if you're able to do it with slow and control, and that as a performer you get a lot of control on while you're performing as well. So initially you may think, what is this guy doing? This is not gym workout, I don't want to be physically that fit. But if you get to a point where you can do something like a duck walk with such physical control, then as a performer, you are already there. You don't need anything else. And then it's your journey. Then I don't have to direct you anymore. I have to tell you, this is the play about, what are you bringing in? And then you create your own process of getting into that zone of acting, I think acting is not even the term, but yeah, your zone. So that's what we are trying.
Got it. And you also have a group of your own, right? Do you want to talk about them?
Yes, group. It's I think it's a weird bunch. I don't know. It's how we found each other, and it's quite a heartwarming thing because I had quit theatre in between because I'm like, hey, there's no seriousness in Bangalore and all that, and then I met this weird bunch who are equally weird, and you can't explain how weird they are, But one thing that we do is we have a common goal of getting better at what we do, and which is quite beautiful, right? So 6 people, 7 people coming together, wanting to do something, and that intent itself is quite heartwarming for me. And that's where I felt, okay, there are some people who've come keeping genuine trust in what we do as a process. So if I'm directing as well, so I don't direct. So all this, I train with the actors as well, and I get better with them as well. So this whole group and learning clowning together, exploring it together, and getting better together, that's been very heartwarming, and that's something I think I owe it to the group as well, because I don't think you pick anyone out, I think it wouldn't have happened. Those proper people who came and fit in together, it's weird together, great. So it's I'm quite grateful. I think if the series podcast, I'm like, Pritesh, why didn't you tell it to our face? But I am quite grateful to that as well, because they induce something that I had lacked and I'd given up. I think that's the greatest feeling that you have. And
what is the group called? And you can introduce them. Like, come on.
Yes, it is. So currently, there's this Paul, there's Siddharth, there's Darshan, there used to be Naz, there used to be Aishwarya, then we have Sumaya, we have Dhanushri, we have Divya, we have Viram, who has 2 Instagram accounts, by the way. Actor Viram and designer Viram. Yes, please follow both. And I think these are the group right now. And
what do you guys call the group as?
So it's called Bandutwas.
Okay.
So whenever you go to North India, they're like, Bandutwas means, oh my God, camaraderie, nothing. People used to call me Bandu in my college. That used to be my pet name. And then Bandutwas is what we added. That's all. There's
the extra 3 letters.
There's no hidden meaning, but whenever you go outside the state, oh, Bandutwas, oh my God, great name.
Such a meaningful name.
Such a meaningful name. It means people coming together. I'm like, yeah, that's that. Yeah. And I think everyone's exploring in their own way. I think they're going to movies and all that. So I think and we all come together and then we make something out of it. And it's come to a point where we are so comfortable with each other. Like, even if tomorrow is some show, and like we say yes, what do we do? We'll figure out tomorrow. So we figure out things on stage also. So it's that that level of comfortness and camaraderie is something that I'm quite grateful of having, you know. And the best part about this group is there is no, I can't even, that's not even the right word. Everyone wants the other person to come, you know, to do great. And that's something really heartwarming that
That's true, and it's very rare as well, right?
it's quite rare, you know, because everyone, when if someone does great on stage, they would come, what, you are so amazing, man. And then, not in a very nice way, we would actually take their case and say it, you know, but that's something that the person is not, I think jealous is too narrow a word to talk, but where a group of people are come here to do something great together rather than trying to show themselves off. That is something that I'm like, oh my God, there's not even one fight happening till now. How is this possible? Okay.
Touch wood.
Touch wood. No, it's okay. Then, like we do weird stuff together, you know, like we watched Brahmastra together and all of that.
And now, okay.
Yeah. So it's something that's something really grateful that I am about. Yeah.
Pritesh, your next question.
Okay.
How do you balance the artistic vision that you explained already with the practical constraints, right? For example, getting your actors or booking your venues or finding a place, maybe like you mentioned, Rangashankara is one place which is popular.
Correct.
But how do you actually decide on your venues, or maybe how do you decide your ticket prices?
Correct. I don't think there's always a balance behind it. Okay. I think after a point of time, there is something that you can do and then you cannot do. I think after a point of time, you just accept that this is what you cannot do. And what is the best way to bring this about with the resources that you have. And the venues, you have to just plan it better. And we are trying to be a group which is not just making a play and then staging it. No, we have done. I think we are done that for now, and we're done. We just don't want to start a play and stage it and leave, right?
Okay.
Now, we want our theatre to reach festivals or more people, or as many people as possible. And by just staging a play in a venue, that shortens it, you know, that makes it like, okay, I've done something, I want to stage it. Done. It's like you make a video and you upload it on YouTube. Then you become a short filmmaker. Then you become a filmmaker. Anyone with a DSLR having a YouTube channel is a filmmaker now, is what it looks like. So we are done. We are done. We're not so keen on staging our plays in venues like here, right? We are trying to figure out how does it reach more people. In a sense, more colleges, more festivals, to show what we as a group stand for right now. You know, and that is what we are trying. And if you are staging something outside, there's always something, unless you are like heavily funded. But even then, if you're heavily funded also, what happens is you tend to misuse that amount that you have, right? But then when there is constraint, you are always creative. How do we get this done, right? So I think more than balance, I think it's about knowing what you can and cannot do, and then you figure out what you can do with what you have, and do the best out of it with what you have is what I think the right term, I think again, compromise is what I could say. But it's much more than compromise. It's about you planning it better in the end is what I feel that happens.
I would call it Jugaad.
Yeah, I think Jugaad also would be a small term to tell it. Because if you're saying Jugaad, that means you're doing it for the sake of doing it. No. But here, what you need to do is, how can you do it better? Your entire style changes, you know, because if you have a huge set in mind, but then you don't have to show it with that huge thing. But then you bring your creative juices out, right? And then how do you show it to the entire audience? I think that is more beautiful than, for example, the best play that I've ever seen was by this play called as Tadpole Repository, called as Rakshas. I'll tell you why. There's a scene where a guy tells he's fighting a dragon upstairs. He's telling that there are two people fighting in the sky with a dragon. And the entire audience looked up. There's nothing happening upstairs. Then even I looked up. I felt like an idiot, and that's the most beautiful thing, right? They succeeded on showing something that wasn't there. Then I didn't want to feel like an idiot. They came to Rangashankara. I said, damn it, this time I'll see. What nonsense. Same thing. Again, I looked up. So you can't show something that's happening on the sky. But then how do you show it to us? I think that comes out of it, where when you have constraints. If there's no constraints, I don't think you get that creative, or you make something great out of it, is what I feel. Yeah.
So finally, did you see the dragon?
No, I did not. And not only me, the people around me also looked. I'm like, okay, I'm not the only fool. Yes.
Was that like the degree of involvement people had when they were watching?
Exactly, right? And the way they were telling us, we actually felt like things were happening in the sky. And I think that's what theatre making is in the end. No? I think that's creating a story through them, and then we see it as well. I think that's what performance making is in the end. Yeah.
And it's like, because we are on this topic, how or what are the take that you have on immersive theatre or experiential theatre that people say these days? Because like mixing different kind of forms together just to create a play at the end kind of thing. Like how comfortable, like there is a mix. Like a few people say that keep things authentic as they are, and then there are people who say mix your traditional folklore with a bit of play, and then present it in a way, package it differently and stuff.
I think both is very required. Because if there's no experiment happening, then there would be no evolution as well, and things have to evolve throughout the time. And I think it is very required that there are people who try something different, experience it what's there. Otherwise, I think it becomes very gatekeep, or it'll become almost like gatekeeping, that you can't do something.
Do you feel we have lost a lot of such forms because we have gatekept?
Surprisingly, those forms are actually given rebirth now. Right? There are a lot of forms that youngsters are going and exploring. Say Yakshagana. Youngsters now are exploring it more than a couple of years back. So I think people are being more open now on what our traditions are. There are certain things that's dying, yes, but I think people are being more open to it now for sure. I don't think gatekeeping is happening because they're more open to teach people for sure. Yeah.
And in terms of the audience that you get for your plays, right? What is the age group of audience? Have you noticed?
So age group is always varied. It's the kids to 60-year-olds, and there's no way that you can satisfy all of them. Right? So it's good.
That was my next question, by the way. Like, how do you satisfy like a certain age group of audience? Because if you know that, like, okay, thinking about it from a purely commercial perspective, right? If I know that there is an audience from 20-year-old to 45-year-old, I know the kind of relatability that they would have, and I would cater to that.
Correct.
And if I know that, okay, the age group is between like 16 to 30ish, that is a different kind of age bracket together. So like, that's what I'm asking from. Like when you're writing your plays or when you're presenting something, like, do you have that in your mind as like, what is the audience that I'm catering to right now?
Of course, you write it for a certain age group for an audience. But if you say, if you're trying to cater to relatability, like for a person who's 60 years old, either he would have gone through it already a couple of times or not gone through it. If you're catering to someone who's in their mid-20s or 30s, who have just gone through it or not gone through it at all. Or if it's a young age like 15, 16, who have seen it happening now to their parents or someone. So that's where the relatability comes. But being relatable to all of them, if it happens, great. But it might not happen as well.
So there's no conscious effort to make it happen from a place.
The conscious effort is to make it relatable to all ages, of course. I would be lying if I say that no, I write because I like it. I don't care if people don't like it. The conscious effort is that everyone likes it. That is, I feel that is every artist's dream, that everyone comes out of his show or a film saying, "Wow, I loved it." I wouldn't. I think it would be lying if someone says, "I don't care what the others feel." No. Everyone does it so that someone who watches likes it. But that's where it is limited to. You try as much as you can, and it's for the audience to whether take it or like it or not. It's up to them, because they're entitled to whether to like it or not. They're entitled to whether to take it back home. They're entitled to have their own opinions about it, and we have no say about it, right? So it's good to have feedback, what they liked or did not like, or what is their take on it. But I think we don't have much control over it. But the idea is that it is as relatable as possible, for sure.
Got it. And you also mentioned very briefly about the funding bit for the theatre. Like, how does funding usually work in India right now? Like, is there any government funding that happens, or it's only like a specific production house that's funding projects, or how does funding?
Government does fund, but I think the information is quite not very clear. Like, we do not know whom to go to funding. It's just about word of mouth. You find someone who funds it. We have not received any fundings yet. I had received funding for my play before the pandemic, or during the pandemic for a brief amount of time, but it's word of mouth again, right? But there are government bodies, but I think the information is not very clear. I think that is something that theatre in India lacks. How do we know to get funding? How do we approach funding? I think not everyone puts their own money in theatre right now, which I think is a sad state of theatre. Where theatre is thriving, yes, which means that theatre is still thriving. Whether you give me money or not, whether there's money or not, theatre will thrive. People are going behind theatre left, right, and center, which is a great thing. But is it sustainable? I don't think so yet. So that is something that it's an whole new topic again. How do you make it sustainable? Right? But it is thriving. People put their own money and they stage plays. They work, come put money in theatre. They work, put money in theatre. All of that. So I think it is thriving for sure.
That was my next question actually. How do you like make theatre sustainable financially?
Requires a lot of planning. There are groups who have made it sustainable. Very few. And they have done something right, for sure. And can we do the same thing? Maybe not. They have cracked it, they've cracked it. And that's a very, $1 million question. How do you make it sustainable? But it's something that everyone is trying, but very few achieve it. And not there yet, for sure, but hopefully.
Like we see ads, or is there a way that we can have brand sponsorships within theatre as well? Does that happen?
There are brand sponsorships, but then the visibility with the number of people that you can reach out on a video is much more than on a play, right? So that also is less. So, but then if you approach, the success rates are high. But then how do you approach as well? So most of the people, artists, they're not so social. They put them on stage, they have no fear, but then put them in front of one person, they can't speak, right? So the social skills, something that I don't think they lack, but we don't know how do we approach. I think that's something. There's no board telling us this is how you should approach funding. But in other countries, there are boards that actually pick plays and fund it. I don't think that's happening here yet, or I don't know of it yet right now.
Okay. Yeah. And do you think commercialization will kind of dilute theatre, or will it help scale theatre better?
No, I think being commercial is great. Yeah, I mean, why not?
Because I've heard this very popular thought where people are like, let's not commercialize this. It's an art. Like,
no, I think it's okay to commercialize. As long as it reaches people. Like, even if it's commercializing, it's a certain group of people liking it. So why not? I don't see any problem there. I mean, it's up to you. It's your own choice whether you commercialize or don't commercialize it. But I don't see any problem in it. And theatre needs to reach a lot more people. And if by commercializing it, if it reaches a lot more audience, why not? I think that's something that should happen. It has not happened yet. I think they thought radio was killed by the video, but that didn't happen. Radio is thriving even now. They said photos are going to destroy pictures. That didn't happen. Painters make more money than any photographers can, right? So it's every art evolves, but I think commercialization is required for evolution, for sure.
Got it. And I think you also mentioned about digital media, right? Like, is there a way we can integrate theatre and digital media?
There are so many performances that do that. Projection mapping, all of that. That's the best part about experientially talking about immersive theatre, that people now are exploring, bringing different art forms together, different types of media together. And though criticizing, or people may or may not criticize, but if they don't experiment, I don't think these kind of work would happen. But I think there's a lot of experimenting that's happening where people are trying to explore different sorts of media, projection mapping, a lot of it actually. There's actually a lot of thing happening. I think, people are doing solo plays with projection mapping. I have projection mapping in my next play as well.
Projection mapping means?
Like you play a video as well. It's digital media with performance. It could be on in the form of a projector. It could be in the form of a video, anything. It could be a form of a painting.
While the play is happening?
Yes.
How does it help? Won't it distract the audience to look at that?
You choreograph it where it adds to it.
Okay.
You know, maybe you say one scene is happening and then there's a video happening at the back. You talk to the video. It could be a scene of a video call. So video is being played. So projection mapping is actually increasing. I think it's about time. People are already exploring it actually quite a lot. Yeah.
And also with respect to a sweet spot for ticketing prices, right?
Yes.
Like I'm sure you guys would have experimented with a bunch of ticketing prices to see like what is the sweet spot.
There is no sweet spot here. I'll tell you why. Because in Mumbai, theatre tickets are much more expensive than movie tickets.
Okay.
Right? It starts with 600, 700, 500. But here you keep it more than 300, 400 people don't come. Right? And which means that people are okay to spend 600 on a liquor every day. But they still think twice if the ticket prices are 400. Sometimes I think 400 is required. Certain places where there's a lot of art forms, folk forms, because you need artists, you need to call them, you need musicians, so that requires a lot of money. And if you have to break even, you need to increase the ticket price. But people here think twice. Kannada plays are 250 rupees, 200. I feel it deserves much more. And people don't watch if it's 250, you know, and 300, which if you see, I think tomorrow also that I'm talking about this play, Neen Nana, Nani Nena, it's 200 rupees, which I feel embarrassed. I kept 300, oh my God, you know, and I feel we need to get there where people should openly purchase it, is what I feel. They think twice when it comes to theatre here, but not in terms of movies. That's different in Mumbai. It's a switch here.
It's very regional.
Very regional. And
what about North Indian places though? Like how?
That's what I'm saying. In Mumbai, the ticket prices are, in Delhi also ticket prices nothing less than 500.
So the adaptation, you say it's primarily less in
and
Bangalore?
People watch, yeah. So the people, and it's always and here we have to promote so much for a play. Bangalore is not yet ready for theatre yet, a good one. The culture is not, it is very niche crowd. Like if you're a theatre artist here, you know almost all the theatre groups in Bangalore. But in Mumbai and other places, you don't have to worry so much about selling your tickets based on the ticket prices. But here, we have to think twice before pricing it. 300, 350.
Got it.
350 is what we like, more than that. I don't think they'll come. But there are places where I have been a part of 500 and it was an house full. So again, it's marketing, but I feel you should not think so much also before you price a ticket in the end. Yeah.
Makes sense. And you briefly spoke about filmmaking as well. Like, what do you think is a difference when you're working on a theatre or working in filmmaking? Like, what is the difference between those two?
See, film also is an art, all right? So you may think that all characters in theatre we have an advantage of rehearsing for 3-4 months, right? Before we actually stage it. Whereas in films, you don't do that. You have to do it on the spot. Getting it on the spot is also an art. I think it should be talked about more. I think it's equally more, I think at times more difficult. Because if you rehearse something for 3-4 months, you automatically get good at it. But so many cameras, lights, 10 people looking at you, not like as an audience, there's so many eyes on top of you. I think it's very difficult to compare. But I feel in both the places, people don't like overacting anymore.
It's very natural acting.
People don't like people doing something over the top in both the places right now. I think that's where there is a balance that we see, that we are achieving. People don't like always a person talking always like a king. They like very subtle acting on stage as well now. I feel.
Is that something which has come from the OTT platforms, because that also kind of is pushing more towards the natural acting, like real stories kind of thing?
I think
these
it's
days?
not. I think it's not OTT. I think it's because there's so much content that you get all throughout everywhere, right? Because you open your eyes, there's content, right? You sit, there's ads being played on metros, there's ads being played on billboards, there are ads being played everywhere. So I think there's content everywhere. I think people are being more prone towards that. But I think it's not. Nothing. This has not influenced that. That has not influenced this. I think this is how it's evolved. People want to see something new, probably, and I don't think anything has influenced the other, for sure. Yeah.
And is there any one of your plays that you want to adapt into a movie?
I don't think I've thought about it that way, because I've written very different story for a film and I've done something very different. I don't think I've thought about it that way. Maybe, I don't know. Because my style of writing for a play is very different than my style is for a film.
How different? In what sense it is different?
The entire thing, the world building that is set up. Like in my plays,
like, let's talk in terms of the storyline perspective. But
Correct.
the storyline would be the same, no? Like if you're considering a film. Or
Correct as well. But when I write a play, I have a little dystopian feel towards it. There is some unnatural element towards it, which I feel that has to be there. There has to be some.
Is that to keep the attention of the audience? Because
maybe I don't say it's little. I feel we have seen the natural so much that if we show anger in a very unrealistic way, I think you try to connect with it more, is what I feel. If you show a creepy uncle in a very nice manner, but he's a creepy uncle. But I feel in a dystopian era, imagine that creepy uncle is very approachable, but that is creepy. You're not supposed to approach. I feel some unrealism. I don't think that's even a word, but something
unrealistic or something
a little over the top is I like to keep it a little
something
bit.
Extra.
Yeah, so my writing is a little different both ways, or how I see, my images here are different, whereas my images on screen are different, for sure.
Okay.
Yeah.
Got it. And okay, one thing that you could change about the theatre industry?
I don't think neither anyone can ever change or anything. It's just,
if you could.
I don't think if I could, then it will be something of my image. That's how I see theatre is. Whereas how theatre has become now is because of 100 other people who have seen it in a different way. And if I change something based on what I want, maybe I don't like it, maybe I can show it however I want it in my production. Maybe this is what I want, this is what I feel. But if I change something, then it would be something that is me, and I am too small a thing to change something in such a big world, right? I don't think, and that would make minuscule of a change, and I think the only thing that I crib about is actors bartha. But I don't think that anyone is big enough to change theatre or any form of filmmaking. Maybe they get their own style to it, but I don't think anyone is big enough to change neither film nor theatre, because that itself is its own world and it will thrive no matter what. Yeah.
And how do you mentor the young playwrights or actors if they approach you?
I bring them as a part of my process, right? And anyone who wants to learn in our group is more than welcome. They can just come and drop by, and we encourage them to write, and then we genuinely help them see how the story is developing and how it gets better. More of practical, like, if a person who's joined us is very afraid of people around, we would throw them in Cubbon Park or in Church Street.
Basically, push them to their uncomfortable
zone as much as possible. And then they change over the time. At least on stage, and so I think more when they are exposed to more of it, and I think we don't worry about failing is what I feel. The first thing that we say is it's okay if you have trained for it, if you have worked hard for it, it's completely okay to fail on the show day. Is what we tell
Efforts
ourselves.
are important.
Like our motto is, I don't know what I'm doing, but it's okay. That's our motto, that's our slogan that we say before a performance. We say it at least 25 times and then we go on stage.
Why is that though? Like, I mean, aren't you supposed to know what you're doing?
Yeah, no, it's like, I don't know what I'm doing, but it is okay. It's like, you don't know what's going to happen.
Is it to reduce the anxiety that people would have?
You never know what's going to happen. You can only prepare for something, but what if during a show you fall and you break your leg, but you cannot stop the show anywhere. So you don't know what you're doing. You can only prepare for what you know what you're doing. But it's okay. There's so many mishaps that happen on stage and we really want to laugh hard about it, but it's only stories for later, but that's our slogan. Like, I don't know what I'm doing, but it is
One
okay.
example though?
I think recently an actor just entered and it was not his scene. There were 15 minutes left and he enters later. And then we did that first, and then again we started the play, and he was confused whether should I enter now. So we went trying to tell him enter, and then he came and we did the thing again. It was hilarious. I think theatre is about mistakes, and how well do you cater to that mistake is the most beautiful part about theatre. No mistakes, there's no fun, I feel. Yeah. And sometimes our actors, we do something to put the other actors off. Intentionally. There's this idiot Paul, I'm telling his name. He would put his actors on a spot because none of them know English really well. We are all not like punters of English. No? It's an Hindi play, and then he would say, and now he's going to tell you in English, and then walk up the stage. And the guy's like, so the play, then just like we put people, sometimes I tell the actors, whenever you hear this word, start singing. And others don't know about it.
Okay.
Yeah. And start singing. Whenever you hear the word tum, start singing. So it's about, it's fun that way, I feel. Yeah.
Lovely. And what's your dream project that you would want to do?
I do have one in terms of theatre. I want to. There's a Rabindranath Tagore story that I want to do. I want to incorporate a lot of folk elements and all of that, and I want to incorporate. We're still preparing for it. I feel I'm not ready yet for it, but we as a team know that we're going to do it in a couple of years. We as a team know that we've not reached
on the way.
Yeah, we've not reached. That's something that we really like, that we say that we have not reached there yet. As a group, we are saying that we're not reached there yet. Doesn't mean that we've not done good stuff.
Yes.
Which means that we're saying
scope for improvement.
Yeah, which we know that we can do much better, and then we know that this is not the best. There's nothing called as a masterpiece. No? That's what we believe. There's nothing called as a masterpiece. What is a masterpiece? There's always fault. Take the best films or best plays that you've seen. Someone will pick some fault in it. So we always go about the term that there's nothing called as a masterpiece. So, but we have a project. We know about it. We spoke about it. We keep talking about it. Currently, we are very excited about the musical that we have because all of us are so bad singers, but they're all working towards their singing, and this is our first musical that we're doing. So we're excited about that first. But we have a project. It's about Rabindranath Tagore a story based on Rabindranath Tagore's written play, and we feel we're not there yet, and we're going to be there like a couple of
Lovely.
years. Yeah.
Okay, I think this is my last question for you.
Yes.
What is your advice for someone who's looking to build a career in theatre?
Oh, that's this. I think I've been asked this several times. I feel career in theatre is great also, but you need to plan it out. You need to know first. You need to plan your finances. Like, what is the amount that you need per month to live or sustain? Then what are the things can you do? So theatre is a very broad angle. It's not just theatre is much more than just staging a story on stage. Theatre builds interpersonal skills. Theatre builds confidence. Theatre takes trauma out of you. So what area are you good at? What are the things that you can bring? Where do you want to go? What part of theatre do you want to touch? And you need to plan quite a lot, because I'm an engineer myself and I worked in the corporate for like 7-8 years full time, and now I'm doing theatre full time, and it took a year and a half of planning for me, and what I need to get there, what I need to do to get there. So I think youngsters should plan that out really well. Because if there's great planning, I don't think anyone will succeed. And that's what people don't do. They think theatre won't succeed, you won't make money, and they don't plan it out. But you plan, and don't limit yourself in anything. Learn whatever you feel like. Write, act, direct, whatever, right? I think it requires a lot of meticulous planning and what you need to put there. And it is tough, of course. So you need to know who can support you, whether you have support, whether you don't have support. Are you mentally strong enough to be without support? So there are a lot of questions that you need to ask yourself, and plan it out for a long, long time. And then and you do what you do, and you love what you're doing. You're actually much more happier. And I think one more thing, most important thing I tell them: see, you come and watch my play. It looks really nice, but I'm telling you, even if you're doing what you love, you get bored of it. And that's the part of cycle. You will get bored of doing what you love as well. Then what? Are you going to quit, or are you going to find something else to do something that you love, right? Because I got bored of what I'm doing. Shit, what am I doing? And that's a great realization is what I felt. Oh my God, dream job, and you got bored of it. Now what do you do next? So getting bored also is part of it. Treating it as a routine also is a part of it. Treating it as a dream is also a part of it. Treating it something that you don't like is also a part of it, right? So there's a lot of things that you have to plan, and after you plan, I think it's there's no way that you can't succeed if you plan it out really well, I feel. Yeah.
Lovely. With that, thank you so much, Pritesh. This was
Thank you
lovely
so
talking
much.
to you.
Lovely talking to you as well. Thank you so much for
Is
bearing
there
me.
anything that I did not ask today that you thought I would come?
No, if you asked, except for what I had for lunch and breakfast, I think it's all good. You asked.
Lovely.
Yeah.
It was great talking to you.
Thank you so much.
Thank you so much.
Thank you so much. Yeah.